You know what that is?
No, sir.
Barry Gordy. This is Motown.
Yes, sir.
Peace and Black Power family. Thank you once again for all the viewership out there tuning in this week to Barber Fire every time. Barber TV, where we're bringing that black news to you raw, uncut, and real, always, you know. It's a brother right here I want to introduce the people to. A brother who I met crossing out here in New York. And, you know, we began to build as a person who I knew one of his relatives for a while up here. So he's like my extended people as a result of that. My brother right here happens to be from Tulsa, Oklahoma. You know what I'm saying? Me and his cousin got a couple of years, my man, going back and stuff like that. Real stand-up cat. But his cousin right here, you know, I want to bring him on because a person that's from there just touched down out here in New York, part of the conscious community, to the extent that he seeks knowledge, and then he's going through different schools and also seeking other levels of knowledge too. Aren't you a Hebrew Israelite?
Right, now I'm just a Hebrew. You know what I'm talking about? And he is real light, man. People of color, man. That's the real light for me. What you want to do? What you want to do is tell him about, you know, Tulsa, right, Oklahoma, a little bit on the ground from somebody that's from there, right, that can basically bring to the people a little bit of history about the massacre at Black Wall Street. You know what I'm saying? One of the most prolific, economically prolific and proficient communities at that time. You know, a community, Greenwood, Archer, and Pine. You know, that's where the Gap band, he got the name GAP. Gap, because they were from Tulsa, Oklahoma too. A lot of history in Tulsa. Yeah, so we want you to go on a little bit about the history of Tulsa, the Greenwood section, who you are, what your mission is, and dropping some knowledge on the people for us. Hey man, I'm J-Mo the Great, all kinds of the 50 states from Tulsa, Oklahoma, man. It was one of the first Black Wall Streets in the country, man. I think it was before Harlem, man. Hey look, Black Wall Street, man, my grandma told us stories about white people coming down with parachutes, with machine guns, gunning black folks down. Most of the black settlers in Oklahoma City got there through sewer lines because the Ku Klux Klan was killing them. The first black governor was elected in Oklahoma. His name was McDay in 1910. In 1910, the Ku Klux Klan said if he take office in 72 hours, they're gonna kill his whole family. So he left it. They commandeered planes from black people and dropped sticks of dynamite on the black community, Greenwood, Archer, and Pine. Killed 3,000 black people in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And they want to talk about the World Trade Center. We're going to talk about them black people they killed before that. You know what I'm talking about? They don't want to talk about, it's a mass grave under the fairground. When I say fairground, I mean like carnival. The black folks was hiding under the livestock. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Spencer told me he got to Muskogee through the sewer line. Most of the it was 36 black townships in Oklahoma before a lot of black townships anywhere. They came on the Trail of Tears from Florida and Georgia. They left it for Indians and black people. You know what I'm saying? And I just think now history ain't really changed. They just not killing us by the masses, but they doing it slowly. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking for a change. And I'm an ex-gang member. Now I'm just a member. And I'm gonna put it like this. If we we must be blood. It's the same thing. A community revolution in progress is brotherly love over all odds daily. It's the same thing. In your body, blood is blue. When it come out, it's red. We need oxygen to breathe, so the Crips need the Bloods and the Bloods need the Crips. Crips and Bloods together, vice lords and disciples. Stop the killing. You know what I'm saying? That's not the enemy. The only enemy I had in my gang banging career was the police and the white folks. Them was my enemies. I don't know about all white folks, but most of them was my enemy. And the ones that's keeping quiet and going along with it, you just as guilty as the ones that's slaughtering our people. This is J-Mo the Great, all kinds of the 50 states, out of 918. I got a new album out called The Book of 918. The area code for Tulsa, Oklahoma is 918. It's called the Book of 918. It's J-Mo the Great. I got Crooked Eye as a feature on there. That's my kinfolk. One love, kinfolk, man. And your brother Madman, Demi, Love One, Andrew, man. That's the Horseshoe Gang, man. I love all y'all, man. It's J-Mo the Great, all kinds of 50 states, Black Power. But we gonna change the Black Pride, because we gonna stop these people from treating us like that. J-Mo the Great.
Yeah, man. Wow, that was powerful. Now, come on back, brother. That was powerful, man.
I'm a little nervous,
Nah.
but I'm going to get it in.
Nah, man. Hey, listen. Hey, that was powerful. I like your perspective on things, and I want you to talk a little bit about, you know what I'm saying, the gang, man. You emphasized on something that I want to kind of go into, which is true. Right. And then I want to talk about it because look at the date. What's today's date?
The 16th.
The 16th. So, like, you got to understand history. October 15, 1966, you had the Black Panther Party. Started in Oakland, California. So this would make the 50th anniversary of the start of the Black Panther Party. Okay? The reason why that's relevant is because, did you ever see the video, Bastards of the Party?
No, sir.
Okay, this was a video that came out in the early 2000s, 2006, 7-ish. Okay, it was an HBO special, I believe. And the person that was in it was a brother who was a part of the Athens Park Bloods by the name of Bone. He played in the movie Training Day.
Yeah, I know Big
Bone. Yeah, okay, and basically he did a documentary that was brilliant, very powerful. Shout out to that brother for putting that out and putting a lot of clarity to the origins of these organizations that became gangs and how they became criminalized into being gangs, what they were and what they became. So I want you to go into a little history, because what do you rap? Like, what are you?
They call, I'm
No, well, you Crip, right?
Yeah,
I'm going to. Okay, now tell a little bit of history about the origin of that you know as a Crip. Or were you that saying that you're a reform gang member that seek knowledge, which you would try to bring to the youth as far as information about the origin of that gang and how to become community organized again instead of becoming a part of the criminal element that's deteriorating the community. Anything you want to give to the people that's a gem that they could use, because they're going to listen to you. You come from their element. You was in the streets like them. You was putting in the work that you do. You had to do something to become a Crip. You had to earn some respect amongst your peeps in the street. So being that you know what I'm saying, had to earn that stripe or earn them stripes, okay, to be able to wear that flag. Now that you're reforming and you're dealing with knowledge, and we know that it means community revolution and progress, what is your vision, if any, that you have for the youth? What would you like to see them do as far as organizing for Black liberation?
Right. Black liberation. I'm going to put it this way. A lot of us that been cripping and blooding want props for being incarcerated. Give me mine for being liberated. Dig that. Hey, man, listen, a community, I ran away at 14. I was a little kid. I saw colors, blew my mind. Ran away to Los Angeles, California, come back to like 20 or something. You know what I mean? And I still don't know until today, well, I know now, you know what I mean? It took me about 3 years ago, a community revolution in progress. What we was doing wasn't cripping, but what the Black Panthers was doing was cripping, because that was a community together with a revolution in progress. We got to keep that fire going, how it started. We don't need to be killing each other and gunning, and brotherly love over all odds daily. That's the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Work together as a community, you know what I'm saying? And go get these young gamers, instead of knocking them and say, we ain't a part of y'all no more. I'm still a part of y'all. You know what I'm saying? But I want to make a change, because we're not the enemy. Crips and Bloods, Vice Lords, and Disciples, we're not the enemy. The police is the enemy. They gunning down unarmed Black people for nothing. If you unarmed and a police shoot you, he don't need to be a police, because he needs some more training. So all that, he was rushing me, had his head down, that's not the business. So man, I'm a big up to all y'all Black Power. I'm kind of like a little nervous, but hey, man, Black pride, man. Let's take it to that and stop these people from treating us this way. You know what I mean? And the origin, which I know that Crip came from, was some guys was getting bullied by the police. The police, and they was pulling them over and jumping on them like they do today. So people formed together and started getting like 3 or 4 guys was walking together, so the police wouldn't do them that way. You know what I'm saying? So they were like, that's them Crip boys. So it went from Crip boys to community revolution in progress, and the Bloods is a direct branch really from the El Rukins and the Black Panthers. That's what I know. That's what I learned from my big homies that I grew up around. You know what I'm saying? I don't know everything, but I know the killing got to stop. That's what I do know.
And that's powerful, because you know what? In order to really appeal to the youth, and be able to have the message resonate within them, you have to be able to talk the language of the people. Right. Malcolm X said that. You can't communicate with the people unless you're able to talk the language of the people. The times we're living in are dire. We're living in very turbulent times. Right. A revolution is needed, and a revolution is on the horizon. The youth are looking for answers. Right. Because they're looking for answers, because in a world of so much confusion, where white supremacy has been so vicious, has been so atrocious, that becomes fertile ground. Right. To plant the seed of knowledge, I believe now, right. in the mind of the youth. Right. This is the fertile ground. The time is now to seize the time, right. you know? So I believe that some of the gang members, they need ultimate reform. Some of them are going to come out. Some of them might have done some things and they're down with that for life. But I believe, like, even within that, and I just want to know what your perspective is on this. Even if you remain a Crip right. or a Blood, or like, for instance, when I was a part of the new Black Panther Party, right. In Trenton, New Jersey, the Trenton chapter, back in '06. Shout out to Brother Divine Allah, Queen Sheena, Maati, all the brothers, you know what I'm saying, down there. You know, we did some organizing. We did the Summer of Peace Unity Rally. Right. So what we did is, and I helped to put together the letter, you know what I'm saying, or the proposal for a license, because you had to go through the formalities, city ordinances and all that, to get the license to be able to have it, a little empty right. lot. Right. And then we wrote to the governor, who then was Doug Palmer, right. you know what I'm saying, we got the license, we went out there, we organized it all, you know what I'm saying, and we got up the money, and we threw basically a free cookout for the community, but it was called the Blood and Crip Unity Tour. Right. We did that to appeal to them, and I met some very brilliant brothers, right. and not to say that I know that there's no limit or lack of talent and brilliance and creativity in the community, but it just never ceased to amaze me still when I meet brilliant brothers who were in these gangs. It was another brother by the name of Messiah. He had a little movement within his Blood organization called Messiah's Hands. Right. And what he was doing, but he was taking his pups as a Blood, you know what I'm saying, SMM Blood, you know what I'm saying? And this is public, because he was a very proactive in the community, and I respected him. And so did a lot of people in the community from what I seen. Right. And what he would do is take his pups, you know what I'm saying, his little G's, to the library and have them read about how to get real estate. Right. You know what I'm saying? Some people just how to fill out a resume, if they didn't even know how to do that. As a lot of our youth, they have basic needs right. that need to be met. Some have more critical needs. Right. But what it needs to be is some kind of connection. Right. Those who have the knowledge, you know what I'm saying, have to have, or those who are seeking knowledge that come from that element, that's cut from that cloth, or still a part of that, right. need to be able to take it to the youth and present resolution orientation to the youth, because they can't be a revolution if they don't see resolutions right. to things that they immediately need. Include food, clothing, and shelter, right. just age education, just opportunity, just somebody to show them real love. Right. You know what I mean? So when I seen that brother doing that, I had to send him kudos, and I know that was going on with a lot, because I started meeting other people right. that was on that and said, wow, that let me know that there's so much hope for the youth, and that the change that we need, the change that we want to see, we have the ability to bring that in. When I see that, that's a beacon of light. What is your perspective on that, man? What should a lot of people do? If they're going to stay in the gang, what would you suggest? Do they organize from within, if possible? What is your stance?
Get your own business. Start a business together. You know what I'm saying? I stay in Oakland, California, man. The Hells Angels got a building, got Hells Angels. We all know they support white supremacy. Right. But if that was a Crip and Blood chapter and they had a building, they would come and arrest us on the spot. They giving 12 years extra for gang enhancement charges in LA. If you in the gang, they consider you as a terrorist, and they will put you in jail. That's most black people. Most youth are ex-gang members. So if you even an ex-gang member, you're gonna get 12 extra years in Los Angeles, California if you do any crime. If it's a 2-year sentence, you're gonna do 14. They trying to wipe us out. It's a war against the black youth. What I'm saying, to change it, they need to reform us like they did these European immigrants in New York in the 1920s. That's what they need to do, and we can rebuild this infrastructure in this country. That's what we can do. Give us jobs. We want jobs. Didn't nobody wake up yesterday and say, hey, I want to be a gang member. It's the situations in our life that cause us to be gang members. You can reform us by helping us build these streets. We can build these streets. We can flood the labor unions and demand jobs for black people, for black youth in America. Give us a job, a decent job. Not no $15 an hour. We join the union. We want to get paid the $30 an hour like your people getting paid. Reform us like you did the European unions, the European immigrants in the 1920s. That's how the union. It wouldn't be a workers' union if it wasn't for gang members in the 1920s coming out of New York. You know what I'm saying? So if you did it to them, and you talking about we matter, all lives matter, give us a job and a decent education, and you won't have to worry about no gang members.
And that's a very powerful point that you just made, brother, because, and one thing I remember too from being in the Panther Party and the 10-point platform, one of the things that we demand, what we want and demand, because you know they're not going to give you nothing, was decent employment. You know what I'm saying? And housing opportunities for our people. But we say that to capture the imagination of the people, because we know that the enemy, it was socially by design and a part of the social American order that they withhold equality from blacks. That's why under government-sanctioned redlining, and from 1932 to 1964, over $130 billion plus was backed by the United States government to give loans to European immigrants, the descendants of them. And that is how they build what became known as the suburbs. And then the poorest sectors of the cities, the economically, politically neglected and rejected sectors of the city became, you know what I'm saying, the ghettos, the poor disenfranchised sectors with no investment. And we know with poor housing, education, and poverty goes hand in hand with crime, and not only that, bad health. You know, so which leads to generational decadence. So when you plant crack in that same community that you deprived equality and an equal distribution of privilege and wealth, what you do is when you plant crack in those communities as well, you okay? It even turns up. And then semi-automatic weapons, because we know that the government even admitted that they did that. Had a lot to do with the Iran-Contra scandal and financing a covert war against the Sandinistas in Nicaragua. They backed that by the drug trade in the 1980s by flooding the streets first, Los Angeles, California, with crack cocaine. You know what I'm saying? Freeway Rick Ross was the first experiment that they used to get that off the ground to see how the effects crack cocaine would have on the inner cities on black youth and how it would destroy the community generationally. And that's what these children are a product of. And it's just like we're sick. And when you're sick, like the same way, because we have to evaluate what caused the sickness. The same way a doctor, when you go to get a checkup, you know what I'm saying? And you're ill, you're having ailments, they're going to conduct peace. They're going to conduct a physical evaluation on you. You know what I'm saying? Basically to determine or try to determine what it is that's causing the sickness so they can provide, therefore, the proper antidote to heal or treat the sickness. The same thing, we have to understand what went into us becoming the criminal element, okay, that we are, which is only an element now by the community, because most of the community is hardworking, stand-up, decent, loving people in the community. I'm going to say that about my community. The sickness is definitely prevalent, but what it is this is what is bombarded on the airwaves. This is what you see so much perpetuated as far as the imagery that is so prevalent about what life is like for blacks in the black community or the inner cities or the ghettos of America. You know what I'm saying? So that thing, that element is real, but it's not the only dynamic in the hood. But it's only perpetuated as to be so. So a lot of times we internalize that. That's how you manufacture the criminal black mind.
So we find a source, we can find a cure.
That's right. We find the source of it. We definitely can find a cure for it. And therefore the antidote is based and rooted in knowing what the causes of the problem is. You know what I mean? So we want you to talk a little bit about, you know what I'm saying? You said you do music. You know what I mean? Like the music, it has the attention of the youth. You know what I mean? So we're battling for the hearts and the minds for the children, not just against religion, not just against you know, the other different distractions and culture-cital vultures that are out there, but also from our own, the music that a lot of us have been duped and co-opted into, being so into only playing like, because there's so much one-dimensional music, though a conscious dynamic and element is coming out. You see the consciousness starting to come back and creep back into the music, which is a good thing. But you know that the music promoting a lot of promiscuity, materialism, violence, and stuff like that. And the record companies and execs are souping the youth up to keep promoting that. Now you, as a person who's into doing the music, knowing that music has a powerful effect. The word music itself, coming from the Greek Latin origin, which has the word muse,
which means to inspire, to influence. Amuse, the same root word that's like in amusement. You're amused, or music, it inspires. So with music, in my perspective, is you're not just putting out words, you're not just dropping lyrics to beats, you're actually casting spells.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
You're actually casting spells and putting spells on people.
Right.
The message resonated. I remember when I was younger, I used to be listening to NWA.
Right.
Back and where I was from was gang infested and wild as hell too, in Boston. Right. But then with the music, fuck the police,
right.
Gangster, gangster, that's what they're yelling. Right. It's not about a salary, it's all about reality. You know, all that stuff back then, we was wildin'. Right. You know what I mean? The music had an effect. With you doing the music that you're doing, once you go into a little bit about the music industry, what you're doing as far as bringing a different element to bring a message to the youth that definitely needs to, thank you brother, that definitely need to hear the message to combat, okay, that which has basically so been bartering in the music industry now with the nonsense music, shit hop.
Right. You got shit hop. You got a lot. Got a lot of cats don't respect. A lot of cats that don't respect the craft. They don't even know the 5 elements of hip hop. What is it? Rapping, beatboxing, graffiti, breakdancing, and DJing. Yeah. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't know. If I said it right, I hope that's if I know them. But you got to respect your craft. A lot of youngsters don't care. You know what I mean? But the white people is taking it. The big executives, the Jews, they taking it, the so-called Jews, they taking it and making it sound trashy, just like they did with rock and roll, so it could sound like shit, so it look like we doing some silly shit. So now it look like a conscious movement in the music now because of y'all oppression. It's backfiring on y'all. We have a lot of youngsters starting to rap conscious now, so it's starting to change, and that's what I want, conscious rappers. Remember, do we really want world peace, BDP? A lot of people, they cut it off after the race riot. They found out in Los Angeles, not the race riot, they found out in Los Angeles, what, the 93 riot, or 92 riots? Whenever the riots happened in the 90s, they found out that black people react, when they hear conscious music, they react different when they get oppressed. So they took it out, they got rid of it, because they didn't want no UNITY in our community. So if they oppress us, look how we react. We march for 2-3 weeks, maybe 2 months, and then it's done. Even I was talking to a Korean guy in Atlanta. He was like, we learned to study y'all before we came over here. When y'all get oppressed, he said, y'all stand up and fight for 6 months, but then y'all done. We gotta fight until it's over with. See, we don't understand the order of war. When you get your foot on the enemy's throat, you gotta mash. You can't let up. We are forgiving people. We gotta stop forgiving them. Everything they got is on hate, murder. Everything they got was, they talking about you gotta have peace and be non-violent, but everything the white boy got is being murder and violence. Think about it. Why is they going to war with all brown countries? Everybody that's brown, the European Union was formed, what is it, after Kennedy got killed? When George Bush was elected chairman of the CIA, that's when the European Union was formed. And they just started going to war, it looked like we're all brown people. And this Muslim and Christian war been going on for thousands of years. That shit ain't solved no problem. We got to mash the people of color. We need to mash, they only make up 7% of the world, or 8%. Come on, man. We got to be stronger than that. Stop being jealous. That's the weakest emotion, like Jay-Z said. We have to be stronger than that.
Okay. Wow, man. Powerful. Woo! This mic is hot, boy. Yeah, my man. Definitely, man. So, what's going on in Tulsa, Oklahoma? The conscious community. We know that through social media, and this is a good thing because there's a lot of nonsense on social media, but we have been able to parlay, sound, color, and motion, okay, and technology into a message like a corner university with street scholarship, even though we have scholars from all different levels, from ideologies and schools of thoughts, parlay that into a program that deals with black news and information, debates and lectures, cross-examination of data and information and dogma, and we have the attention of the youth. This is a powerful thing. This is a powerful time. We have the ability to do so much with the technology that we have now in real time. I want to know, in Tulsa, Oklahoma, a historicity such as Black Wall Street, which showed the strength of a community. Right. You know what I'm saying? The audacity of the community. It's a community just a generation or two after chattel slavery. Right. I mean, it was during the Plessy and Ferguson era. Right. You know what I'm saying? Separate but equal, which under separate but equal, we had more black producers, more black success.
You know, more community structure, therefore racial and community value. You know what I mean? Even though those were turbulent times, a lot of us were still brainwashed and under the yoke of mental enslavement through Christianity, okay? But that was a time where you see a lot of people doing powerful things. Tulsa, Oklahoma, and that's leading to what I'm getting to as far as it pertains to that. The people there had to be a certain breed, a certain caliber. There's a certain strength, okay, and there's a certain blood that pumps through the veins of the black folks in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I can tell by what it is that they were doing out there in the 1920s. Okay, there were many other black communities, and there were other successful black. It wasn't just Tulsa. Okay, there was many other Rosewood, and then all of them. You know, there was many other ones. They all weren't attacked to that way, but the Good Old Boys Network came into effect and changed the political climate and the social paradigm then into what it is now, to kind of offset us having any success and advancement in a separate but equal society that they said we should have under Plessy and Ferguson. And therefore, the people in Tulsa, Oklahoma exhibited such strength, such character, okay, to be able to have, I don't know how many schools, banks, hospitals. I remember you was breaking down how they had they own so much there that we only know about, but so much because many of us only see the documentaries. We've read some narratives on it. You coming from that, what is the conscious community like there? Being that they come from such strong people, such intelligent, creative people, you know what I'm saying? So Tulsa, Oklahoma, I know that there has to be a certain caliber in the blood and in the character of these people there. What is the conscious community there like, if there is one? You know what I'm saying? Then drop onto the people a little bit about the history of Tulsa, Oklahoma, as far as blacks and what they've owned and what they were accomplishing. A lot of that which we don't even know about.
Right. Man, in Tulsa, Oklahoma, man, they said it was all money in, no money out. They said it took $100 a whole year to leave that community. They did so good, they said it looked like the modern day Beverly Hills. Russia and China wanted to do business with them people. That's how good they business savvy was. If a lot of people don't know that, one guy owned his own bus system. They had a bus system, 2 hospitals, schools. I think Carver was one of the schools that's still there in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and the old church is still there in Tulsa on Greenwood. They tore down a lot of those memories because they don't want us to rise up and remember, but we'll never forget. Because if you think about it, 100 years ago this time, just like uprisings is happening, the police brutality, race riots broke all over America. In 1917 and 16 is when it started. Before 21, race riots broke out. So it's in our spirit. It's 100 years, and we coming back, and we want it back. We want. That's a blueprint. All money in, no money out. We can do this right in Harlem and make it a 1921 movement. Spend with people of melanated, people that look like you, melanated people, black people. Spend with people that look like you, and don't spend with them. They might stop that when you start hurting their pockets, or they're gonna show their true face and start coming to kill us. You know how they do. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, they had bus system. The guy that started, he came from Fort Smith, Arkansas. I don't know his name, but he the one came. The white folks wouldn't sell him no land, so he went to Greenwood, and the Indians sold him Greenwood. And he said he ain't selling no property to white people, and black people started coming there by the droves, and he was selling them all the property, and that's how Greenwood got started. But it was a guy, one of the doctors, he said he made $500 a day in 1921. In 1910, that was some cash. And Oklahoma was formed as a state in 1907, so you know they hit it right off and was doing good. So. You know what I mean? They grandfather, it was out of pure jealousy. It wasn't no woman on the elevator. It was pure jealousy. Johnny Cole got into it with Kirkpatrick, a sheriff downtown Tulsa, and they started wrestling over a gun. He was a soldier, and he said, "You're not taking my gun," because they had killed this black boy, and they went up there because they thought he had raped some white woman on the elevator, but they found out she was lying later on. But the ride was over Johnny Cole. The police killed him. The same thing we riding over now is in 1921. It's gonna happen again. They planning something. Can't you see a plan coming? They planning something for us, but we need to get our own plan for them. Don't tell them too much. Actions speak louder than critics.
I like what you said at the end. Action speaks louder than what?
Critics.
Action speaks louder than critics. Woo! I like that one. And that's true. That's real talk, man, because the battle that we're on as a people is on so many levels. I mean, this thing is deep. Right. And we already understand that, you know, psychologically, the damage
and through psychological colonialism that many of us are products of. You know what I'm saying? But then when you really consider the socio-political dynamic and how by social design, it has been set up, and this is not a conspiracy. Some people think because certain blacks have certain political concessions, or you know what I'm saying, and there are a lot of successful blacks making a lot of money, doing great things, going to college, graduating in armed forces, in politics, in medicine, and all that. But we understand something, but the status quo, that's not affecting the status quo as far as that paradigm that has been set up to keep us collectively, because we're individuals even though we have black people who are successful, black millionaires, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, we have Rich Slaves, the book, $40 Million Slave, definitely check that out. We have more black billionaires and millionaires than ever, many more graduates than ever. A lot of them don't network, organize with, or support the causes of blacks who they've disengaged themselves with, you know what I'm saying? For those that it applies to. You see what I'm saying? So we got to understand, like, this thing is deep on so many levels. Like, we're not impacting white supremacy even with our success, because it's collectively we're doing great things, but we don't have a sense of nationhood. We're not doing things as a cohesiveness as a people, you know. So therefore, there's no group economics. Even all with all the black millionaires, billionaires, and even just that are just striving and thriving in the communities that we're in. You know what I'm saying? And doing all right. A lot of us don't, and enough of us rather, because many of us do, but not enough of us act in a way where we can impact a blow as a people. We have no national mission objective. We don't block vote. No group economics. We're too divided, even if it's not with gangs, with religion. And even within religion, sects and different branches, and within that, I mean, it's just crazy. Along with the psychological damage that's done, along with the way it's socially been engineered for us not to have equality in here, along with Proposition number 41, if I want to go even a little deeper, how it try to keep us from having real unity and engaging in business and political affairs with our continental brothers in Africa. Yes.
What is the first?
So it gets deep.
The worst enemy to white folks is black unity. J. Edgar Hoover said that. But if you shot at the revolution and miss, I bet you having eternal nightmares. You know what I mean?
Yeah, may he rest in eternal, may his eternal soul rest in peace, is what we used to say. However, so, you know, I think, like, we have our work cut out for us. And we use these platforms definitely to capture the imagination of the people, some to spark conversations, to open dialogue for critical subject matter, because it's something that keeps us divided, or it's something that, you know what I'm saying, that requires evaluation and cross-examination, certain religious belief systems. Harlem has always had, not just Harlem, black folks have always had different religions and different classes and different complexions and different things to hold us down internally, but there is an external dynamic that we have to consider. So a lot of things that we're doing, a lot of things we kick knowledge to spark people's interest, to convey messages of truth, knowledge, power, okay, for the betterment of the people. We also know that we have to be wise enough. There's some things you don't talk about on camera, because all you're doing, if you're silly enough to talk about specific things and your stratagem, and some people would try to attempt to do this or sound like they have a strategy just under the auspices of trying to sound deep, or I have the answer, you know what I'm saying? And if you do, you're not supposed to give answers to the enemy by trying to sound so deep in front of the camera that you're silly enough to just let them know certain details. You know what I'm saying? So, like, our work is definitely cut out for us. You know what I'm saying? And us being real organized, and when I say organized, I mean, like, we really have, and we already know everybody's never going to come to the table and say, let's do this. But I'll always say this: if the right amount of people do it, with the right intention, with the right stratagem, we will impact long-term change that in time the masses of people will be interested in and support, okay, or become a part of, definitely. So you know what I mean? My whole thing is this: empowerment, black empowerment. That's why I say power. You said we have to have pride first before we have power. I remember you were saying it, which is true, because without pride, you're not going to develop power. You have to have some kind of pride, something that you stand for, something that you live for and you love, that you're ready to, you know, give it up all for. You're ready to make ultimate sacrifices for, in order to really develop or obtain power. You know what I'm saying? So that starts with pride at the root of it. And then you have to have something to be proud of.
So that's why these platforms are good, because we bring back that pride, knowing about our greatness. When they see young brothers and sisters out here, because sisters come through, and we like to start seeing more sisters come out here and drop them gems, so the sisters will be listening more. But when they see the brothers out here dialoguing, whether agreed upon a lot or disagreed, and articulating themselves in such a fashion, there are people out there being inspired and elated, and they respect the fact that our handle is like this. Our intellect, as far as we're talking about things, we could be talking about nonsense. Right. And wilding out here, arguing about the regular, typical, common, you know what I'm saying, lower frequency type conversation. But we're bringing conversations of different topics to the people, to the world, inspiring thoughts, sparking that energy to help people to build that pride that is necessary to eventually want to obtain power. Right. Black power, because that's what we need. Right. We can have faith in anything, but without power, our situations will never change. Our condition will never change without a measure of power. We say knowledge is power, but that's an aspect of knowledge. I mean, that's an aspect of power, okay? That is what you need first. But after that, it is about organizing and planning. It is about reaching our soldiers in the streets, and our greatest resource, okay, is our youth. Right. Our lost soldiers out there are the youth. Right. You know what I'm saying? We have to have a plan of action for reaching the youth, because once we teach them, you know, and the women, most of all, once you teach the women, you teach a nation. When you teach a man, you teach a person. And it's powerful, because we got to teach our brothers. We got to admonish our brothers. We got to dialogue and build with our brothers. You know what I'm saying? But we must teach the women. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's good to see the women come out here. A lot of intelligent, strong sisters out here. But a lot of times they're deflected because a lot of brothers are not inviting or bringing them in, or have ulterior motives. You know what I'm saying? Or very chauvinistic. But when a lot of sisters start getting on deck and really bringing this powerful information to the sisters and to the brothers, but to the sisters, right, and that's becoming, you know what I'm saying, what it is, that's becoming it. Right. To be having knowledge and to be beautiful and consciousness and natural here and articulating yourself as a queen is beautiful and is respect worthy. A lot of sisters will follow that. Right. And once you can wake up the women, and once you can teach the women, you teach a people. When you teach a man, you teach a person. You know what I'm saying? So with all that being said, and we do appreciate your time. You know what I'm saying, that you came here on Baba TV and dropped it and let us know a little bit about Tulsa, Oklahoma. In closing, anything that you would like to express to the people, or say, drop some rhymes, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because we definitely very much so appreciated the dialogue and the gems that you gave to the people. In closing, you know what I'm saying, drop something on the people.
Okay, for my sister, for my brothers, if we come together as black men, if we come together as brothers, our sisters are coming with us. If we not messing with each other, they definitely not gonna mess with us. So we need to come together as black men, and our sisters will follow behind, because it's nature. You know what I mean? And I got something to say. You mean color man, what? Black lives matter when it matter to us.
I just want to say, man, thank you, brother, for blessing my camera like that. And after listening to you, it brings back something that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said. And he said, wherever our people catch the most hell at, he said that's where the warriors will be raised. And you talked about that Caucasian with no flinching, no buck dancing. That lets me know that the true warriors will always be where our people catch the most hell. And on that note, I'd like to say thank you very much for sharing this time with us, and the spokesman too. And I'd like to say peace and black power.
Black power.